Awesome. So thank you so much for hopping on this call with me, Ozzie. I really appreciate it. And
Nice to be here.
yeah, and so a lot of people probably already know who you are or recognize you, either from TV or you've been a bestseller with multiple books, both in Canada and the U.S. You have your podcast, and you are a part of Vancouver's REAG, Real Estate Action Group. So you're kind of all over the place, a guru in the real estate world in Canada. And so for those of us who see you as that, everyone starts somewhere. And so I was hoping you could share a little bit about uh, where did you start from? How come real estate out of everything that's out there? What got your interest?
Well, the interesting thing is, of course, I eat, breathe, and sleep real estate. Yes, my background is real estate. I've had the privilege of running the largest real estate company in the world at the time with 10,000 employees. That was a sales organization. Then I have my own investment companies. We bought and sold thousands of units. And then, as you pointed out, the Real Estate Action Group. I believe that through investing in real estate, you can change your life, literally. Because I can certainly started with nothing. And everybody that can start with nothing. And what I want to talk about that evening is give you a little background on where the market is, what are my principles. For instance, everybody talks about location, location, and I'm going to tell everybody location doesn't matter as a real estate investor. What does matter is timing. And so, for instance, the time to buy in the United States was 2010. You would have made a fortune. Had you bought in 2006, you would have lost a fortune at the same property, just at a different time. And throughout Vancouver, we've had these experiences. And so the key is, what is the time? What's the cycle of real estate? What is the trend? Where are people going? Like right now, millennials heading back to the city and they don't want cars. And what does that mean to me as an investor, right? And then the whole idea of inflation versus deflation. I'm going to talk a little bit about that, because once you have the backbone on saying, hey, this world is still my world to invest, then I'm going to tell you why real estate. Because real estate has what no other investment has for you. It has leverage. You can buy $1 million property with 100,000 down. When that property goes up 10%, yeah, it's 10% on $1 million, but it's 100% on your down payment. And so when people paid 100,000 for a house in Victoria, and now that house is worth $1 million, and they paid down 10,000, they made 910,000 on that investment, or 990,000, right? And so that's in the tens of thousands of percent. And once you understand that, and you understand that every payment you make today goes half into your genes, so you even have a forced savings. It doesn't matter the market goes up or down, you will do fine. I'm going to talk about that. And then finally, once I've learned in my life is that we all see a magnificent speaker. He made a good impression on us.
Yeah.
And we understand the material. We take notes, say a Tony Robbins or some such guy. We leave there and we are just convinced we're going to change our lives. And 2 weeks later, we open the trunk of our car and there are all our notes. What happened? And I'm going to talk about how you understand yourself as to why this happens and what you can do about it. So in broad strokes, you spend about an hour with us. It'll be an hour you won't forget.
All right, awesome. I know I, for one, am really, really excited. I mean, even if nobody else showed up, I would show up with a
Nobody else shows up.
Pardon?
The house will be packed.
It will be. And actually, to that note, we have restricted the number of people that can sign up, because we know that it's going to fill up really fast. So just one last question before I wrap up here, because I know we're going to keep this really short. I want to ask you, what advice would you give to someone who's just starting out in real estate investing, who's maybe a little bit overwhelmed at the breadth of real estate investing, because it's a really big world, or really isn't sure if they can do it, because they're 25 years old, they've listened to a couple podcasts, they're like, yeah, this seems cool, but I don't think I can do that. That's for Ozzie Jurock, who's established.
Well, my view of the world is that you're different today than you were 5 years ago. And you just kept living, right? And we all run busy lives. And you're going to be different 5 years from now. The only thing I would urge you to do today, you start taking charge of yourself. And I'm no longer dreaming. I mean a goal with a deadline, because otherwise it's just a dream. And I think on that evening, I can guide you in the direction where you say, you know what? It's not that important how much money I have, because you can have half a pie. I've never seen so much money in the world, money that wants to invest and get out of getting 1% in the bank. And if you can show them, for instance, a great deal in Langford or in Victoria, where it needs maybe 100,000 down and you're willing to take half of the profit, the money will also be available for you. In fact, when you find a deal, the money will find you. So I wouldn't worry too much about it, because when young people say, oh, nobody can afford to anymore, hey, you never bought a house with a 13.5% mortgage where your monthly payment was more than it is now at a $400,000 payment. When the interest rates were on second mortgage 16%, and the first mortgage was only 60%. So you had to get a second mortgage of 30% at 16%.
Oh,
Today,
my goodness.
people worry about 3% or 3.2%. I'm saying my whole real estate portfolio in the 80s was at 11%. I stood on national TV when I was president of Royal LePage, and I said, 12% is a good rate for the family. I believed it because we came from 16. Anyways, the point is, it's always in our lives. There's a Russian crisis, an Asian flu, there's an economic crisis, and everybody will tell you real estate isn't it. And yet, I bought a house in 1960 at 16,000 in Vancouver. That's now $1.8 million. No matter $1.8 million, no matter what the circumstances were, the buying of the house or the condo that suited for you and your family and a lifestyle always was the best investment at the same time.
Awesome. I love it. And I would love to pick your brain more about that, but we'll save that for another time. So just to recap for everyone, Ozzie Jurock is going to come over and speak at our meetup. Thank you so much for that. And that is
February. What's the date?
Pardon?
The date is February 25th.
It's February 25th. So we host our meetup the last Tuesday of every month. And so RSVPs will be going out through our meetup website. And space is very limited, so make sure you reserve quickly.
Where is it held? What is the hotel?
It's at the Comfort Inn and Suites, which is just across the street, well, almost just across the street from Mayfair Mall. So it's really central. There's tons of parking. There's underground parking. Make sure you get there early, though, to get a good seat.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ozzie.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.